Hello, everyone. This is Jason Rodriguez here with Z Prime. Today, I'm joined by Jorge Ortiz. He's the director of XR for Frolic. Jorge, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Just another warm winter here in Texas.
Excellent. So I really appreciate you coming on here at the end of the year. Such a wild ride 2020 has been to talk to us a little bit about where you see the future of augmented reality, virtual reality, and XR in general moving to in 2021. And then also talk a little bit about some of the things we have on the horizon for the Frolic team. So my first question to you, being in the industry for many years now, and 2020 has had several surprises. I wanted to get your initial thoughts on what has been your most surprising XR moment of 2020.
For 2020, I think there was not a single moment that was surprising like in previous years. I guess um, the surprise of getting new headsets with improved. It's not a revolution. It's always an evolution. So it's good that all these headsets are coming out. But I do think about like three different issues that were somewhat surprising. One, there's a lot of buying from franchises and big name studios into VR, mostly for gaming. But we're seeing things like Marvel, putting their franchises into VR exclusives. And another really interesting game was Half-Life Alyx. That's about a 20-year-old franchise that was rebooted, and it was only rebooted for VR. So and that's exciting. I mean, it obviously it was a great title. It was one of the first AAA titles, and it obviously got the best VR game of the year. But it was not the best game of the year. So there's still some snubbing of VR in terms of how it fits an ecosystem of technology. On the other hand, we saw another thing that we saw a lot of shortage of supply for VR headsets. Even Oculus, Vive, it didn't matter. Everybody wanted one. That was really interesting. And then people are buying these headsets, and franchises are investing on it. And the last point is, of course, Facebook muscling their way into the XR ecosystem, which made quite a lot of waves because not only are they forcing their way in, but they're trying to force other competitors out. So antitrust and all these other things that Facebook has done for the Oculus environment are coming back to get them because people want to be able to play their games in multiple devices.
So the next question, Jorge, is I think one that's lots been talked about, but I wanted to get your perspective. How do you think COVID-19 changed or altered the course of that XR journey?
Well, obviously, it has a major impact. The most evident one was that it was really difficult to share headsets. No matter what, from what approach we saw it, we would see, oh, okay, we have antibacterial things and all these other steps that we can take. But then there was like, well, this is not a bacteria, this is a virus. So there were UV lights and all sorts of other solutions to try to mitigate that risk of sharing a headset. In the end, I think people just decided, it's a bit too risky. Even for us, sharing headset among our own crew, we would have to like sanitize them for like a week to 2 weeks just to make sure nothing was left there. That being said, like I mentioned before, there was still a lot of demand for individual headsets, so people are buying these for themselves, and yet they're just not able to share it. What I think in the industry, what's happened, at least for us, is we've seen a pivot towards augmented reality, because those are apps that we can distribute through smartphones and app stores. And that lets people experience XR from the comfort of their own home, as opposed to in an event with a nice little booth that they can try XR. Yeah.
Thank you. And so yeah, you kind of hit on another point broadly that a lot of folks in the industry have been grappling with. at this point in time, in the context of COVID-19, along with just where you see or think the evolution of XR is, what are the one or two biggest current challenges right now to increasing adoption?
Putting aside COVID concerns, I think one of the things that is lacking in the XR environment is content, not just in terms of games, because there's plenty of those, but like community content. So a lot of this is individuals putting on their headsets, turning on their phones, and logging into XR, but they're not connecting with other people. So they're not really communities, or there are very few communities in which social interaction is established and promoted. So I think once we get into, it's kind of like the early days of the internet, right? You could visit a web page, but you would never think about making a web page for yourself. Now this is all. That's literally all we do every day in social media, on the internet. I think that paradigm shift needs to happen for XR. It's not a place where you go to visit. It's a place where you let other people visit you.
Fantastic, fantastic. So to conclude, the Frolic team has been very busy, even during this pandemic, and a lot of great work. We have a lot of good things coming up in 2021. But I want to get your thoughts on what projects are you most excited about here and that you're working on in 2021?
Sure. Well, there's an unnamed project so far that takes us old school to like 1990s adventure games, like point and click adventures, just because of deployment, because they want to deploy this to as many people as possible, and that includes PCs that don't have VR access or phones that don't have AR access. So we boiled it down to what a good experience felt like, and even though it's still at its core like a 3D game, we can put the option of adding augmented reality to it, which is super exciting. Also, in terms, and this is like a game for learning something, right? It's in the education and training sector. Another set of apps that we have are the Electrify apps, which is in close union with utility companies. We are trying to get some customer interaction on what they're doing. Saying, "Hey, I create electricity and give it to you." That's a bit of an understatement. So they're saying, "This is how we do it, and we're going to have this interactive experience so that you can experience, all the things that are involved in bringing electricity from the source all the way to your home, and all the things that we're doing to improve that."
Jorge, for joining us today. It was really exciting to hear about your outlook for 2021, but also hear some of the challenges you see that we need to overcome to continue to move the XR industry forward.